Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell. Lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Maybear, and I'm here with Lee Cockerell. How have you been, Lee?
Hey, good, Jody. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. We're at the end of girls' high school swimming, which means all of a sudden I get a lot more time available.
Good grief. Good for you.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. And my daughter's team got third in state, so that is exciting. Speaking of exciting, maybe you want to go on a vacation, and that's exciting. And if you're going to do that, call our friends at Magical Vacation Planner. You can reach them at 407-442-2694. Let them know Lee Cockerell sent you. And I really don't know if they'll take better care of you because of that, because they do such a good job anyway. But I'd
They
like to
do.
think if you say Lee Cockerell sent you, it'll make a difference.
Well, we'll say that and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just say it. All right, Lee. I have an interesting topic this time. I'm working on the next or an upcoming edition of the Main Street Leader, and you wrote about a situation where, and I don't even know the exact situation, but it was something that was going on at Disney World, and you had a plan to tell all of the cast, and somehow it ended up in the paper. And so some of the cast read about it in the paper before Disney World told them about it. And I thought, how interesting. What an awkward situation. So I wanted to talk about that. And you may not remember the details and you may not be able to talk about the details, but I want to talk about that situation. Information getting out to the press. This is probably only an issue if you're a large company or a company in a small town, and information gets out into the press, leaks out into the public before you've talked to your own employees about it. How do you handle that?
Well, first, I can certainly tell you at Disney and even Marriott, you certainly don't want that to happen. And I guess today there's easier to have leaks if a few people know about it already. But we have a whole system at Disney, which is in what order people are told. The person affected obviously is told first, and then second is their direct reports, and then what there's a schedule when it goes out to the everybody at large, so that it's done rapidly but in the right order. So there's no surprises, and I guess that time it must have slipped out. Loose lips. Somebody had loose lips, but that's not only at Disney or in a big organization. I think you want to do that in any situation of even your family, of telling your kids something first and then making sure that they feel like they were trusted and they got the news at the right and appropriate time. And a lot of times those things that you're announcing are very emotional and make people scared or nervous or, wow, I can't believe that happened. And same thing. I think people give you the benefit of the doubt when you're honest with them, and they learn. Obviously, my boss told me, Al Weiss once said, "Lee, here's how you and I work together." He said, "I don't ever want to wake up in the morning and read something in the paper that you knew and I didn't. So you could call me at 3 in the morning. You can call me anytime. I don't like surprises." Because I want to know before the newspaper does, and I want to know because I want to talk to Burbank and make sure they know before. I don't want them knowing first, and it's just a good idea to think about when you're going to do something. Do you have a little plan? Who first? Who second? Who third? And in the right order. And it's a matter of respect, frankly. And if we were going to do something here in our house, we'd if doing something big, we would tell Daniel and Valerie, and then the kids, and then maybe it gets announced, or then we'd let the world know we're about to do this. But yeah, family doesn't like surprises either. Oh, why didn't you tell me you were going to do this big thing, Lee? Don't you trust me? And we would include certain friends that we're. So it's being thoughtful, and maybe that's just the name of the game. Is maybe be thoughtful. Don't just go out there and create a lot of problems that don't need to be created. Because when you don't tell people yourself, the story gets enlarged and the facts get changed. And by the time you everybody out there in the world has heard it, you got to go back and do a lot of repair work on, oh, that wasn't exactly right. Here's the truth. And people, it's like that telephone tag. Once people hear something, boy, we see it today on the internet. You put something on the internet, it goes all over the world, and by the time it comes back, it's a whole different story. And so it's a matter of good communication, being respectful, and valuing other people. That you want to hold the trust with them and keep the trust with them, and let them know that they're special and important. So, yeah, it's weird.
When I worked as a financial analyst at a commercial bank, our company was going through a shift, and they laid off an entire department. They got rid of an entire department, and they were so concerned about it leaking out to the press first that they kept it a secret. And then, and instead of, they knew if they told individuals, there was a chance it could break out. So they had this big gathering of all of us together. Everyone at headquarters was together for, they had bagels, and it kind of felt like a party. And then they announced, this department effective this date no longer exists. So let's say there were 24 people. That was the first they heard about it in front of everybody. And they got criticized internally for how it was handled.
Sure.
But I imagine they thought the risk of it getting out first was bigger and would have bigger consequences than telling everyone like that. And so,
well, the way Disney does it, it's very quick. I will tell my team at 10 o'clock, and at 10:30, somebody else knows, and 11 o'clock it goes out. I mean, it's bam, bam, bam. It's it's
so real. So what happens if, let's say you're going to cut a popular program at Disney, and it leaks out to the press before you get to tell the cast? Yeah. How do you then handle that internally? Because now people realize, oh no, my job could be at stake. Why didn't Lee tell me?
Yeah, I think you just got to go and apologize. I'm sorry that happened. That's not what we intended, and we intended to tell you all in the right order, like we always do. And we're not sure how this got out, but it did. And just know that we're always sensitive to that, and hopefully it won't happen again. Because stuff happens, it does get out, and as I said, when you tell 2 people or even 1 person, the chances of it getting out go up dramatically. And yeah, but it's a good communication skill to think about planning the announcements, planning the news. And especially today with companies that are doing layoffs and having financial problems, at least you try to keep some of the trust within the organization, that you respected your team enough to tell them before the whole world knows about something. And so it's what it is. So, and it's harder today, by the way. It's much harder with the internet,
Yeah, right.
It can go around the world in 1 second. And so maybe you got to tell the first team and then lock them in a room while you tell the second room, and then lock them up until they can't get out, take their phones away. But yeah, because it's embarrassing sometimes to a lot of people, and they don't have a chance to tell the right people in their family or their friends. So yeah.
So let's say that a company they have something coming up. They're about to talk about a big change that's coming, and they haven't yet planned how they're going to do it. Now you have inspired them that, oh, we need to plan our organizational communication. What are the first steps in that? What does the leaders at the top need to know about organizational communication?
Well, at Disney, we had a team that's what they do. They have a system they follow about who they talk to and they decide what order it will go in and who the key people are by name or position. And so we have a very structured system, as I am sure big companies everywhere do today. Maybe in the old days they didn't, but today we have it very structured. And there's a discussion of what facts need to be in there, what we should say, what we don't say. Sometimes you don't say everything because it's nobody's business why something happened, but it's just happening. And so it works. It's kind of like anything. Anything you're going to do, have a good plan for it. And whether you're taking a trip or whether you're trying to do something else, it's kind of like read the directions before you try to put the toy together, so you don't have leftover parts. And planning, thinking. But I think mostly for big companies, and particularly, they probably have a exact system how they do it. Smaller companies ought to be thinking about this, though, that they are not just letting what they say, loose lips sink ships. So during World War II, so be respectful enough to think through that there's going to be a lot of insecurity around certain announcements, and you don't want that. But that's all I can tell you. That's
in those rare cases where it does leak out ahead of time and it gets to the press or it gets through the company. Did you ever worry about finding out how that happened, or did you just move on?
I don't really remember any serious issues with that. And no, I didn't try to track down anybody and do something bad to them. But, but and if you got the right culture, hopefully, and the right trust, and your team's, you're all really connected and they trust you, and the culture is that way, the chances go down. Obviously, that somebody's going to break that trust for you, but it could just be somebody. That's why you got to do it quick, because somebody goes home tonight and tells their wife. She could tell by accident, tell her mother, and the mother tells this, and it comes out before the announcement tomorrow. So that's why it's really. I just always was amazed how tight it was. Bam, 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 it's done. Maybe it all happens in an hour. I mean, literally, and so it's a good way for this people to think about this in the future. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't thought about it at all, because the ramifications can be bad. If it gets out to the press, or gets out to the newspaper, or gets out to maybe a competitor that might misuse that information. So, yeah, good subject today. That's a good one, because around the world, there's a lot of bad news being communicated every day, every minute in your whole life. So I just feel more respected if somebody says, "Hey, Lee, we just want to tell you this, and in an hour we're going to announce." Yeah, internally, you feel better.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, if you have any questions about planning your organizational communication, reach out to either one of us, Lee at leecockerell.com, Jody at jodymayberry.com. We're happy to talk about it. And I'm actually going to break some news here, Lee, that we haven't even told members in the Cockerell Academy yet. So I'm leaking something before we talk about it internally. Lee and I have finished our newest course. It's about currently we're calling it the frontline rules. Perhaps we will change it, but it is a course about operating on the front line. It is the first time that we have done it. Many of our courses are for, I would say, managers on up. This is the first course we have done specifically for people on the front line. And that's why it's called the frontline rules. It's kind of like the customer rules. And it's for the front line. And we are going to add it into the Cockerell Academy around Christmas time. It's going to be like a Christmas bonus for people in the Cockerell Academy. You can't get it any other way other than to be in the Cockerell Academy. So if you go to cockerellacademy.com and sign up, you will get the frontline rules course added around Christmas time. I know I just broke news that hadn't been out there yet. Lee, tell us in a moment, just tell us about this new course about the front line.
Well, I think we all look back on our careers and think about, I wish I'd have known that. I hadn't made that mistake. I wish I'd have looked better when I went in for the interview, or I wish I had said this or said that. Or I wish I had prepared better to interview with a company by studying them before I went in. And I always said to people, when you go for an interview, young people, don't ask the company, could you tell me about yourself, about your company? Because today with the interview, you should know about them before you go in there. And we're just giving those pieces of advice of how to have better odds at succeeding by having more finesse, having more knowledge, how to look, how how to. I said to somebody this morning, and it's even that issue of you got to be on your toes, and we want you to. Hopefully this will put you on your toes, even if you're out waiting to go in and see this person for an interview. I guarantee you, the secretary's evaluating you, and you're on the phone and you're saying something inappropriate or doing something inappropriate, or she'll tell the boss. She'll probably go in and tell him, don't hire this guy right before you come in, because you just got to be alert. And we all need to learn these little tricks and these little things, and that the first impressions are real. And a lot of this is about first impressions of how you look, how you think. And so I think that's one of probably the biggest problems most people have today are the soft skills, those kind of, who are you? And I was talking to somebody, said we talk about management leadership, and management's how to do things, and leadership's how to be. And hopefully this course is going to teach people how to be, not how to do. You can, if you want to know how to do, you take the time management course and you learn how to do management skills. But this is how to be. Who are you, and what impression are you making? And that may be the most important thing. Of what impression have you made? So yeah, it's great. I think it's going to be great, and we probably could push it all the way back to ninth grade and get people learning early about these kinds of things. And so yeah, great. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I think it is a great course. And if this is so, here's another thing, that if you don't have a solid frontline training program in your organization, because many training programs are about here's how to reconcile a cash drawer at the end of the night, things like
What
that.
you can do and can't do.
Yeah. But if you want a training about how to, like Lee said, train your frontline how to be on the front line, because they represent your company, then get in touch with us. I said the only way to get it is to be in the Cockerell Academy. And now that I've said that, well, if you want this training as part of your organization for the frontline, I'm sure Lee and I can work something out. So just reach out to us. You can find out more at cockerellacademy.com. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.